Who is China's AI Goose? This is genuinely a serious company's 46th annual general meeting presentation, explaining the secret sauce behind SoftBank's success. And looking at the share price chart, who doesn't want to find more geese, but it got me thinking about which other geese are hiding in plain sight. Anthropic already looks remarkably efficient relative to OpenAI when you compare training costs, but then zoom out one level further. Relative even to Anthropic, the AI capex boom looks far more restrained outside the US. There's an old saying that constraints are the friends of creativity, and AI may be proving it again. When compute and capital are scarce, efficiency becomes a competitive advantage rather than an afterthought. The real question is, what happens as enterprises start to notice, and the avalanche of spend moving from the enterprise foundational model companies continues? It's far too early to call the winners, but history suggests one thing: never bet against the geese. Jamin Ball has made the case that startups should get themselves in the token path. If AI usage is growing exponentially, the best businesses are the ones that sell into that growth. Just look at Cursor. It took just 12 months to go from 1 million to 100 million in annual recurring revenue, and then it took just another 12 months to go from 100 million to 2 billion. Why build a business tied to linear growth when you can ride an exponential curve? Coding agents are the obvious example today, but inference providers, infrastructure companies, and aggregators like OpenRouter all benefit every time another token gets generated. They're selling picks and shovels for the AI gold rush. But what if you're a normal software company living in the far less exciting world of linear growth? Well, it turns out the second best thing to being in the token path is pretending you're in the token path. Raise prices, push net revenue retention higher, add a few AI features, then spend the earnings call talking about your AI strategy. The market has been remarkably willing to reward companies that can plausibly tell an AI story. But the first rule of the token path is never to admit that you're not in the token path, or you might end up like this, which ironically isn't even fair given Wix sits in the token path via Base 44. No, this isn't about ticket prices or FIFA's wonderfully American Ticketmaster resale marketplace. I'm talking about a different World Cup tax. Which country gets hit hardest simply by participating? Ironically, the answer is Scotland, not because of Steve Clarke's team's disappointing outing, but because the fans had to stay up all night to watch every game. And there's another one. It turns out the second great tax comes from the European Central Bank, which found that during the 2010 World Cup, trading volumes on international stock exchanges fell by around 55% whenever national teams were playing. Turns out you don't want to make big decisions whilst watching England fall behind against the Democratic Republic of the Congo. No better way to finish off a World Cup roundup than with a comparison of foundational models as World Cup teams, and a man balancing a goal net on his chin. This week's funding saw strong rounds across the UK tech ecosystem. In defence tech, Sterling X raised £15 million to build a sovereign intelligence and autonomy platform. In AI, Lucida raised £5.3 million in seed funding to let users talk directly with an AI language coach in real time. And 1001 raised a £30 million Series A led by Lux Capital for a decision-making platform for complex physical operations like airports and infrastructure. In health tech, RQ Bio raised $86 million for long-acting antibodies against seasonal flu. Fraser Life Sciences led that Series A, and Neuronostics raised £3 million for BioEP, which analyses EEG recordings to help diagnose epilepsy. In deep tech, Astral Systems raised £23 million to commercialise multi-state fusion, led by Mercia Ventures. And back in London, Gaussian raised 20 plus £1 million, led by BGF and Albion VC for MagLib, a magnetic battery retrofit, and Aeon, its control chip and software. Links in the newsletter. We'll see you next week.